Good morning, ladies and gentlemen. This is my great pleasure to speak in the session about the memory of Professor Kunii. I will not talk immediately about my subject, but I would like to say some words about Professor Kunii. I met Professor Kunii in '83 at the first Intergraphics conference in Tokyo that Professor Kunii organized. After this conference, we had immediate collaborations to schedule more conferences and workshops. Professor Kunii was a keynote speaker at Graphics Interface 2 years later, the usual Graphics Interface conference in Canada, and he was a keynote speaker. Here you can see his picture giving the keynote speech in Montreal. Professor Kunii was absolutely a very important person for the Computer Graphics International Conference. He has founded the Computer Graphics Society with several people in Geneva in '85. On the same year, he has founded the Visual Computer, which is very important for CGI because all papers selected in track 1 are published in the Visual Computer. And we have to say that this journal is still going on with myself as editor-in-chief. I would like to say a last thing about Professor Kunii. One of the main things is that he organized the first CGI conference in '87 in Karuizawa in Japan. And in fact, he has two mediums who speaks about this. The first one is the journal newly created Computer Graphics and Application, and he has several papers that were published. Two main research were upon our film rendezvous in Montreal. We were doing, Daniel Talman and myself, in Montreal, that features the 3D Marilyn Monroe and 3D Humphrey Bogart meeting in a cafe in Montreal and having an affair, or at least a romance together. So this was very early in '87, and when we came to Japan, NHK reports about this event in Karuizawa and also upon this.
今、長野県の軽井沢で国際会議が開かれています。ではまず最新のコンピュータグラフィックスの映像からご覧ください。
All right, sweetheart. I love you. Mwah. Here's looking at you, kid.
Oh, please again, Sam.
Do contain order. Simple reason we can tell one from the other without any
こ
problem.
の国際会議には厳しい参加資格が設けられています。ただ単に
I would like now to speak about my research. So since 2013 in Singapore, I have worked with a robot, Nadine, which is similar of myself. And the novelty in the early years was that she was able to recognize people, speak multiple languages, and also show emotion and have a memory and remind facts and emotions. So this was the novelty of the time that gives quite a few PhDs, theses, and also many papers. Now The platform was also started early 2013 on and always improved, and it is based on 3 modules: the perception, where we censor the sound, the speech, and also the face expressions, also gestures, and some understanding of objects in the scene and things like that. And now in the central module, we provide many models like emotion, memory, social attention models, and the chat box. And finally, in the box action, there's quite a lot of software. As you can see, this platform works for social robots and also for virtual humans. But let's say many things are in common, like generating corresponding emotional expression or lip synchronization, the gaze generation, the speech synthesis, the gestures, and if it's robots, at least we have worked a lot on grasping. Here I would like to summarize the study we have done. Nadine has been since a few years in many places. First, she was at the Art Science Museum for 6 months, meeting thousands of people and interacting with them. Later on, she works as a customer agent in AIA Insurance in Singapore. And we have decided very recently to bring her in an elderly home where patients have some dementia. Why? Because we thought that it's very necessary. These people, like many similar people around the planet, are lacking companionship and very often are left alone in terms of interaction. So the study asked the following question: can Nadine encourage interaction, participation, and engagement? Can she increase social interactivity? For example, that the patient smile and laugh more. Can her presence create positive behavioral response? For example, people should talk, pay more attention, because normally many of them are quite indifferent or stoning. So this is the study as such, and you will find the paper in the online visual computer. So you see here some example of the scene. You will see in the video later on, patients interact with Nadine. Now, for this study in particular, we have added some modules like showing image, songs, and videos, being able to change the tone of Nadine and the speed, recognize specifically these elderly, and also adding some information about them, so the dialogue is more personal. And now in the data collection and analysis with full ethical IRB approval, that took quite a lot of time to get this permission. We had taken 14 elderly participants, and we had 2 cameras, and we used 2 kind of tools: the objective tools, which are based on vision, and then we could analyze facial expression, gestures, and so on, and the subjective tools, which were managed by our therapists. And in fact, they use traditional method to the questionnaires, analysis, or annotation of different behavior or engagement. So I skip to the results. So the results was very positive. After 6 months, we saw that the dialogue, that when they came interactively to speak to Nadine, was 15 minutes, and the conversation was increasing over time. And also, what is very important, the results of the objective study through visual techniques, as well as the traditional subjective observational data, meet totally in their analysis. They come to the same. I would just like to show you the film of the experience of Nadine.
Let us play bingo. Morning, Chai. Can I ask you, having a robot like Nadine, how does it help our residents in the nursing home?
From my observation, the resident is more focused and they are enjoying. Over the time, they remember what is the routine of the bingo game with Nadine, which is they looking forward every week.
我知道我的名字叫哪里。好，从现在开始，你可以给我打电话。我是你的门员了。我已经把你当朋友了。阿姨，我好吗？我下午在做什么？ Rose, how old are you? I'm 42. Do you like me? I love you very much. I think I love her. Thank you. Jenny, how many brothers and sisters you have? I have 3 brothers and 1 sister. They're lucky to have a sibling like you. Yeah. She answers people questions. Understand people, and then she can sing song, play song, very clever. Did you enjoy the song? I enjoyed the song very much. Bye-bye.
What are the needs of the elderly in an elderly home? Can a social robot like Nadine help in something?
I will say, as a therapist, I totally see that the use of Nadine, the humanoid robot, has helped to improve the cognitive function. It helps them to improve in their attention and their memory, and we see it in this study. And now that Nadine is going back, the residents are also preparing to send her off, and they're asking, hey, where is Nadine going back to? Where is her home? And I think that typically shows how this is a very well-adjusted interaction between humans and actually a humanoid.
I'm very happy.
Tender and kind, built over time. This is my love for you. Steady and pure, patient and sure.
A metallic robot can never replace Nadine, and we really look forward to see her coming back in the new home.
So shout from the city gates, hear heaven bless his stay. Let all the elders say that this love was worth the wait.
Thank you very much for your attention.